Episode number 177.
And you can post that on LinkedIn, you can post that on your blog, but it's just going to help humanize who you are, what the brand is, and of course, establish you as someone who's not just letting their opinions, go to the wayside. Give away some free information, give away your thoughts.
Welcome to the Be Real Show with Travis Too Tall and Huff, where we talk about life, dreams, social media, and business.
Well, hello and welcome to the Be Real Show with Travis Too Tall and Huff. Folks, let's do this because today we are going to educate you and get you inspired to make more videos for your business and brand with my man, Colin Hogan. Are you ready to be real?
I am, yes.
Let's do this. Colin, after graduating, moved to the East Coast from Chicago. As there's lots of opportunities after graduating, and especially also in the comedy world, which is interesting too. I'm gonna have to check that. Get a little insight on that, my man. Well, eventually he stumbled upon Demo Duck in 2014, making a career move into video production, which was something that was his passion, folks. And as we know, that's very important, is to have something you'd like to do. There's a huge business for that. And so Colin has now been handed the reins of the company. And in 2017, he was handed the reins and actually promoted to the managing director. So my man he's in control. He's the boss. and he feels like he is one of the luckiest person because obviously he loves what he does. And he's also honored to work with and for the smart people at his office, and I'm sure as well as customers. And pleasure having you on the show today, my man. How's your day going today?
It's going well. It's a beautiful day here in Chicago, and excited to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
No doubt, brother. No doubt. So get into Demo Duck.
Yeah.
Tell us about the business and how you guys help customers.
Of course. Yeah. We started about 8.5 years ago. Very much, obviously, it's in our name, demo, in the demo video space, not demolition. So creating videos that really helped our customers show off their product or service, and to kind of morphed into explainer videos, which was more of like the animated explainer video realm. Mm-hmm. Typically, our videos back then would live on our client's homepage. So you'd go there, instead of reading all the copy about what they do and why it's so great, you could just click play and watch a 60 to 90 second video and get all that information super quick. Over the 8.5 years, we've really expanded in terms of not only the people here and revenue, things of that nature, our office space, but also we've evolved the clients that we work with. So we still work with some really cool startups who are kind of launching, doing some really fun things. We also work a fair amount with pretty large organizations that maybe have a new product that they're launching that needs an educational or an explainer video, or a larger brand who just needs to turn their FAQ page into more digestible information via a series of videos. So now we're not just stuck in the animated world. We do live action videos. We do stop motion. Anything that a business is looking to accomplish through a video, we can help them get it done, produce it for them, and give them a high quality product once we're all wrapped up with production.
That's awesome, brother. So what kind of businesses do you guys love to work with? Like, what is your favorite kind of businesses?
Yeah, I mean, we do a lot in the tech space because that's where we started, but as well as the healthcare space. One of our first big clients back in about 2012, 2013 was Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois, which is only a couple of miles from our office. But I think we really also like the education space, to be honest. And,
gotcha.
That can expand from the higher ed side of things, but also we do a lot in patient education. So still within the healthcare world, but less launching a product or service and more of educating patient populations or those caregivers within the ecosystem of patient populations on certain treatment options or certain medications and the effects on the body and their immune system or whatever it may be. So those are really cool because obviously there's a lot of important information included within that. But the people that are getting this information, and it's really kind of affecting their quality of life and helping them get peace of mind of what they're going through. Because, we work a lot with the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. We work with the American Society of Gene and Cell Therapy. So just helping people better understand kind of the treatments in the road ahead is something that I think everyone here really can rally around and get excited about.
Right. And it's probably a huge part of your business too, because I can only imagine there's lots of different video topics around that. Are you finding more and more businesses are trying to do what you said, where they're want to make their FAQ section or their question and answers easier to digest in video?
For sure. I think the typical order of things that we see with companies that are kind of on the rise and that growth phase is they start with an explainer video, then maybe they have a couple of customer testimonial videos that are some of their top clients talking about how great their product or service is, maybe a little background video on themselves, like a company story video, we call it. From there, it's pretty wide open, but definitely a trend of people turning dense written content into video. So that can be an FAQ page for current customers or prospective customers. We've seen a lot of internal communications videos. So these companies are like, hey, we have this onboarding process and maybe we have a video that looks like it should be on VHS and shown in like a high school gym back in like the 87. So we want to update that. We want it to be more engaging. We want to do some sort of engaging piece that's going to launch this new product to our internal team so that they can all get on the same page. Or we have this message about our new brand evolution that we need to communicate, and we want to take the words of our CEO and turn those into a fun animated video with him doing the voiceover. So people are really starting to think outside the box, and that's exciting to see. And also we love it when our customers come to us and they just say, here's what we want to do. We just want to turn this into a video. How do we do that? What's the best way that we can do that? And then we can pitch them some certain concepts or frameworks for the video in order to make sure that it's engaging. But we don't want to be creative just for the sake of creativity, where you're watching this beautiful piece at the end, you're like, wow, that looked great, but I have no idea what I was what I was just watching and what I was supposed to glean the message from that. So I would say a lot of educational videos that have a basis in like a blog post or FAQ or some sort of block of text has been a big trend recently.
That's awesome. So I could see that being huge. I mean, as more things are moving to video and audio, they're going to need your help, my man. I think your specialty too is the educational part.
Yeah, and I think
not just making it look good and just making it look like foo-foo and branding and all this stuff, but actually getting a point across in these videos, because obviously that's the point of the video.
Yeah, for sure. And
probably most of them, I'm sure.
And that's what we kind of pride ourselves in, is really being able to dive in and get to know the world in which our clients live. But still, we don't want to lose that third-party perspective or the outsider's perspective, because a lot, if you're too close to the subject matter within the video or the product you're trying to launch, as you write these scripts and put together these storyboards, you want to make sure that still is going to translate to the layman or the outside party who's just watching this and has no context into what's happening. So we dig into the material and the source material and the industry, trades as best we can to make sure that we're communicating things in a clear and concise way, but also still making sure that it's very understandable. It's easy to digest for someone that's watching it in a very short period of time. But that's definitely something we pride ourselves in. One of our script writers, we call him Dr. Jarrett, just because he's written so much about the medical field. It feels like he's gone through medical school in a sense, and can speak a lot to these things that I'm not as involved in those day-to-day projects. So it's super impressive to see, and it's definitely exciting to be able to tackle that.
That is awesome, brother. Now, my next question is for those that are listening today, say, okay, I need to get my own demo video. Maybe I can't afford Colin right now, but I'm on the way up. How does the company start with video tomorrow? Say they're going to start today or tomorrow. It's always tomorrow, but say it's today. Let's just get it done. Where can it get started? Where's the best place to get started?
There's a few things that they can do. I mean, I think the easiest and kind of lowest barrier of entry is thought leadership videos, because we do a lot of super high fidelity that have a little bit more budget, but also for people starting out, it's a 1 to 2 person company. They can get in front, have their face a window, put an iPhone in front of them, and just film themselves talking about some topic. Maybe it's a blog post idea that they had that they want to have the video accompany that blog post. Where I don't think most people in the audience don't knock it for not being super high quality or a high level Hollywood production. If it's just a quick 60, 90-second video where you say, hey, I just wanted to touch on something. This industry leader just released this announcement. Here's my thoughts on it as someone in the industry who wants to voice their opinion, and hopefully it's a valuable opinion at that. And you can post that on LinkedIn, you can post that on your blog, but it's just going to help humanize who you are, what what the brand is, and of course establish you as someone who's not just letting their opinions go to the wayside. Give away some free information, give away your thoughts, tell people how they can get in touch with you if they want to talk more about this. engage the community, and it's not going to be something that we're going to be able to see a return the next day necessarily with 100 clients coming through the door, but it's a slow build to get to that brand and get traffic and have people say, oh, that's an interesting topic, and can engage with you on the social accounts that you have. So that's if someone is to say, I got to film something tomorrow, what do I do? That's where I would start, and especially because everyone's got a smartphone to get it produced.
Yeah, one of our past guests talks about newsjacking, where you're writing relevant content or filming relevant content. Now we're talking with video about the current news stuff. So it's like, Katy Perry has this stance on her and Taylor Swift, they're friends. See, folks, this is what can happen with social media. Become friends again. So everyone start liking each other's posts and stop being negative.
I mean,
funny,
I think,
or be topical. Obviously, provide some value, some insight on what's going on with your industry. I think, and like you said, using the industry leaders and talking about what they're doing or saying or happening, whatever their press releases are, whatever their content is.
Mm-hmm. And don't be afraid to mix it up a little. And I think the thing you don't want to do is just regurgitate the news or regurgitate information that's put your opinion on it, put your stance out there, or just if it's something that you found that I'd say the best thing to do is for initial client conversations, if you're kind of hearing the same questions and feeling that you have to educate these new clients or prospective clients on a few different talking points in those initial conversations, take one of those, make it a 60-second video. Take another one of those, make it a 60-second video. Hey guys, I've been hearing a lot about this certain question about the biggest thing that you need to include in an explainer video. Mm-hmm. Here's my thoughts on that. Make sure that the script is XYZ and engaging, and set up the problem and transition to the solution, and so on and so forth. So just be very specific, and you'll find that if you kind of keep that in the back of your mind, the topics for those videos will really start to pop up on a everyday basis.
That's awesome. Yeah. So turn those top questions, folks, into videos. It's not that hard. We all have smartphones now. My wife gives me a hard time because I still got an iPhone 6S, my man. But it's still functional.
You still got it, yeah.
It's still functional. I've had to replace the screen, once or twice. But at the end of the day, it's been a great phone over many years, and I eventually will get the new one. It just doesn't seem like it's that much better always. That's the problem Apple has. They make these phones so dang good that it's like at some point you're like, do I need to upgrade? Not that like my wife or people like that just love to upgrade, which obviously understandable. But for someone that's still old school with phones, and that I grew up without a phone at one point in my life, it's just like one of those things you think, you don't necessarily need to upgrade all the time. You know what I mean? Just to be strategic, as well as also just to learn the new systems. But yeah, even with the iOS though, it's amazing how they send that upgrade, and all of a sudden, all of the functionality is a little bit better. It still has a different little edge on it, and it's very interesting how they can do that. But thank you for providing some great value, my man, to our audience, talking about the thought leaders. I love that video idea.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to start. And then, like you kind of alluded to, once you get a little bit more cash in the bank, a little bit more budget, that's the time to think about that homepage video, which is often the first big professional production that we see from people.
And what does that typically cost budget-wise? I know everyone's different, and based on, obviously different factors and time. But say someone wanted just a simple 60-second video on their website. What would you budget you think businesses need to kind of have to work with a company like yours?
Yeah, so Demo Duck is probably in the $15,000 to $20,000 range for a 60 to 90-second video. I would say if you're somewhere around the $7,000 to $8,000, you're probably going to be able to find a good video partner for your needs in that given period of time. But there's definitely a lot of resources out there outside of Demo Duck in terms of getting a video done and getting it up there. And I think similar to somebody launching a product, at times it's helpful to just have a minimum viable video that you can throw up that has some level of polish to it, and you can see how that performs, see which parts of the video people are resonating with target audience. You can even use the analytics for that web host or that video hosting software. Wistia is the one that we use on our.
Yeah, that's a good one. I heard.
Yeah, and they're a great brand, great people. That's what Demo Duck uses on our website, and that allows you to see like when are people dropping off, how long are they watching the video, so you can figure out kind of what's resonating and what's working in that video, so that over time, as you start to put more content out, you can hammer home those points a little earlier, order them a little bit differently depending on the performance of the videos you have up.
And the thing about Listia, I know this is also, is it Wistia or Listia?
Wistia, yeah.
Okay.
W.
Yeah, they is that they also, it's not like YouTube, folks. You put your stuff on YouTube, the next thing you know, they're going to send you to the next video unless you have a playlist set, right? It's like they're going to take you off your site. They're going to take if you put a YouTube video embedded in your website, which is how most of us have been doing it for many years before they had these kind of services. You control more of like this, like you said, the analytics and also the flow of the next videos and things like that, right?
Yeah, I'd say obviously, like you mentioned, them clicking off the page is a concern. I think just from a user experience standpoint, if they're finishing the embedded YouTube video on your page and then it's giving them suggestions for the next video that they could watch, you don't know what that could be.
Right.
Depending on the keyword algorithm, what they've watched in the past. And granted, you don't have a lot of control over that, so they can't fault you for it, but it can be a little bit risky and just association, and someone takes a screenshot of like, look at this homepage. Like, what's going on here? So it's just distracting. It's going to automatically play the next thing. And there's a lot of cool things you can do with Wistia and other business video focused hosting platforms, and including links within it so that people can click to get in touch with you, or
that's awesome.
Turnstiles where they enter their email to finish the video or get that thought leadership video played. So I highly recommend moving away from YouTube from an embed standpoint. I would definitely use YouTube from a search standpoint.
Right.
But at least embedding, I would go more towards those other options. And then, just to touch on the search component of things, I definitely would recommend putting it on YouTube for a lot of, not every instance, but for most instances, just because even if they search on Google, it's going to typically pop up in their Google search results amongst some other videos. And then, of course, YouTube's like the number 2 search engine in the world, and people can find things that way. So,
just for the search purposes alone, you need to have it maybe on YouTube.
Yeah.
And so for some of the brands, they're not going to necessarily get a lot of video views. I mean, even if you look at some of the big brands, they don't get a ton of video views. And some of them, obviously there's people out there that get millions of video views on their, Joe Rogan podcast or something like that. However, it's just having it out there and the content out there at the end of the day is so important, folks. But my man, now we're about to take you into our top 10. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's do this. Apple or Android?
Apple.
Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix.
Instagram or Twitter?
Instagram.
Have you noticed Instagram's been having some different changes lately on your posts or things like that?
In performance of the post, or just the
performance? Performance, yeah.
A little bit. I know that they've been experimenting with taking away the like button.
I've heard that too. Yeah,
in some areas, and making that a little bit more difficult. And I think Twitter's also de-emphasized the number of followers, so it seems like they're reacting a little bit to like the like culture. But no, we've actually had pretty steady growth this year in terms of followers on Instagram, and most of those are actual real people, which is important. So we've been pretty happy with it, to be honest.
That's awesome. Well, it's the number one most trending platform right now. I just know dealing with customers that have in the millions of followers, things have changed dramatically. They changed when I started my business with Facebook. It was like in the beginning, people was the heyday, businesses were just scaling on this thing because they were getting a ton of organic traffic, and then that stops. And then all of a sudden your posts are not getting the organic traffic.
For us, we're just such a visual organization based off of what we do that Instagram's always going to be up there as an important thing. Yeah,
absolutely. Chicken, steak, or fish, my man?
Steak.
Oh, you guys got some killer steakhouses up there. Favorite steakhouses?
That Chicago Cut is probably the big one.
Chicago Cut.
Yeah.
Chicago Cut. Do you have a favorite cut of steak?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably just prime rib.
Prime rib? Nice. Okay. I like your style. Laptop or iPhone?
Laptop.
Spotify or Pandora?
Spotify.
Movies or video games?
Movies, hands down.
Reading books or listening to books?
Reading.
Stocks, crypto, or real estate?
Stocks.
Do you do a Robinhood or one of those platforms?
No, I got a buddy that's big on Robinhood, and they got a lot of great videos from Sandwich Video, who's in our space and creates a lot of cool stuff. So I remember hearing about them back when they first launched through one of those videos. See, there you go.
That's how video working right there. That's how video works, folks.
Yeah. No, I haven't gotten into any of those new trading apps, but need to check them out.
That's cool. Yeah, there's some benefits. There are some benefits. I have E-Trade as an old school, before the Robinhoods. And then now the Robinhood, there's some benefits. There are some benefits of free trading and not having to, the money comes pretty quick too. Oceans or lakes?
Oceans. I'm from the East Coast. Always oceans.
From the East Coast, the big lakes. Yeah. When you wake up in the morning, why do you love being you?
Well, my wife first and foremost, but then also I think the thing I'm super lucky about is I get to walk to the gym in the morning. I get to walk to or bike to work. So
that's awesome. So you get to live an active lifestyle.
Yeah, just living in the city. I every now and then I hear about commutes for certain people that either work in the city and from the suburbs or vice versa, or even just parts of the city that are far away from one another. So I always try to not take that for granted. And that's something I remember reading in a Jerry Seinfeld interview where he was asked the coolest thing he does every day. And he says that he gets to walk to work. And I think
that's awesome.
That's pretty cool. So I try not to just take that for granted. It's a nice ride in.
Now you get to combine exercise, and there's nothing like being on a bike. It just makes you smile.
Yes, especially when you're riding past
crazy driver. The crazy drivers. So that's cool. So did you track your steps or anything like that?
No, I haven't gotten into that Fitbit life yet. My wife does, but no, I haven't done that. How about you?
I do track them. It's interesting just to see kind of what happens on any given day. I got a treadmill desk where I can kind of hop on there for an hour or two and do some work, and then kind of also do some walking, like with my father, do some running, things like that. But it's interesting just to track it. It also has your heart rate and stuff like that, just to kind of see like your heart rate. And I mean, I probably also probably the next biggest benefit, shout out to Fitbit, is that they put notifications on there and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You can't call back or text back, but you still can see notifications if you're like away from your phone or something and your phone's nearby and you're in the outside and someone texts you or, someone calls you, you can get that alert at least that something's happening.
Yeah.
But I mean, like it's still a long ways away from even being where I think it should be, but it's 20 years ago, 50, 30 years ago, you said you could have this device that does all these things. You'd be same like our phones, it's like, it would be impossible to even tell them what they do. This thing does everything.
Yeah, I don't know if you're familiar with Strava. I think that it's similar to Fitbit, but it's more of an app for like cyclists. But just this really cool video work where they had like a year in recap where they would have this high fidelity animated video that's just a super rad that had your personal stats and kind of had a really cool interface. So yeah, Strava year in sport. I think the video is
that's
fun.
cool.
To check out. That's not a demo duck video. That's just someone else in our space that did it, but it's super awesome. I think it was by a company called Giant Ant out of San Francisco. But yeah, it's really cool. And it's kind of like those Facebook videos where it's like, here's your year recap, but they just take photos from the year and put them into like a templated slideshow. This is a little bit different, still a high level template, but with your personalized statistics, so you can see
that is cool.
how far you bike.
So you can share it on social or
things like that.
I'm sure they, want people to share it or, just a shock and awe just to see that kind of detail into you as a customer.
Yeah, and it's been pretty cool. And there's a few things going on in the automated video space that's been pretty cool. And something we're, experimenting with a little bit is creating a video design template. Organizations that are, they're sponsoring. I guess I just played tennis yesterday, so Wimbledon comes top of mind, and you can do automated little animated social videos for who wins the match or when the set's over or whatever it may be, or certain like performance of stocks on a day-to-day basis. Since we touched on that, and there's a lot of cool things going on in the video space outside of the typical production process that people can kind of ideate around and think about how they're going to get in, making
the videos even more personal.
Yeah. And in real time. And in real time, basically, just plugging in
that is awesome
API or I think even like an Excel doc or
like an Excel doc. I was thinking it must be maybe something related to Excel. That's very interesting.
Yeah,
fascinating.
It's super cool.
That is fascinating. Is that one of the funnest parts about your business too? Is that things are just changing all the time?
Yeah, it's exciting to see. I think everyone kind of pushes one another within the industry, and especially with video tech, like I just alluded to, continuing to evolve. It's been interesting to just see like especially if you see the end result first, then trying to reverse engineer, okay, who made that? How the heck did they make that? How do we do that?
Totally.
And trying to be one that people ask that same question too with things that we put out there. So,
and you guys can still do it pretty affordably too, because I remember when I was working with the ABC broadcasters, the average TV commercial back in 2005, 2009 was like $250,000 for like nationwide.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're bringing production costs down too for you guys, which is awesome. And then maybe over time, I think what's happening is people just wanting more video, more. I want to put this channel. I want to put this video out to this audience. I want to put this video out to this audience. And they don't want to just be a one-fits-all video for everybody.
Yeah, and we've been lucky enough where we've worked with some clients that have had digital-focused projects at first that's just going to be for online use, and then it performs well enough where they've said, okay, how do we adjust pricing and licensing and edit this down to a 30-second broadcast spot?
That's awesome, dude.
That's been pretty cool to see as well.
That's awesome.
Goes the other way, obviously, but it's fun to
get
a little broadcast spot. I know that the TV industry is its own issue.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Our team gets excited if we are watching some of our favorite shows and that pops up.
Dude, are you kidding me? That is awesome. That is awesome. It's like the unexpected thing that happens that just like is like, whoa, even more validation to my work.
Yeah.
Good job. And shout out to your team, my man. That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. They're killing it.
Do you have a skill that you want to master right now? Is there something you're working to master?
I still want to get better at other languages. I'd brushed up on Spanish a few years ago, let that fall to the wayside. And then my wife and I took a trip to Italy. So I got pretty rudimentary knowledge of Italian, but want to get fluent eventually in some language. And then, I'd say that's number one.
Where'd you guys get to go in Italy?
We went to Venice for a few days, and then we went to northern Italy in the Lake Como area, which was
nice,
unreal. We did not see George Clooney up there, but it was it was crazy. It was beautiful, beautiful country.
That is awesome. Yeah, the people of Italy are so friendly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I felt like that. I felt that they were so friendly towards Americans.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we had a great time. A lot of cool people, and especially because, like I mentioned, my Italian was very rudimentary. So it was beneficial for them to help us through ordering things and getting places.
Making sure you know where you're going. Do you have a favorite podcast or something you like listening to on audio?
Yeah. I mean, I listen to a lot of Dax Shepard's show.
Oh, yeah.
Podcast, which is pretty cool. And then we're big fans of a show called Terrible. Thanks for Asking. We actually created, just for fun, an animated podcast intro sequence for them. So basically, if this was like a TV show, they have a little theme song that they play.
Yes, nice.
We animated a little. So those are big ones, not just for myself around the office. We talk about those two quite a bit, and they just really dive into like human psyche. Terrible Thanks for Asking is more about grief and changing the stigma around grief and being able to grieve openly and discuss the pains of losing someone
close which is
to
tough.
you.
That's tough, man. I mean, that's the truth for everyone as we get older.
Yeah, they can get pretty heavy, but it was really cool. So we did that for them and shared it with them, and they actually, when they were in Chicago, invited us out. And Nora is the host of the show and started it, and she played it before the live show. So they projected at this local theater in front of hundreds of people, which was pretty rad.
That's
pretty
awesome,
cool.
Dude. You're doing all sorts of things, man. That's awesome, brother. Do you have a favorite app? Do you like using on a daily basis? Anything that gets you around, keeps you going?
That's a great question. We just had scooters introduced out here in Chicago, so I have a few scooter apps. I don't know how I feel about the whole scooter craze quite thus far.
Is there a lot of people picking up scooters over there? Or is it Bird or one of those companies that's come out there?
So Chicago did the thing where they let 10 companies each have like 2,000 scooters. So it's everything.
Oh, wow.
You got Lyft, Uber, all the sorts. But I would say, to go back to the thing I want to brush up on, Duolingo is
yes. Yes. That's an awesome app. Very fun and kind of engaging way to learn some language.
Yeah, I need that gamification.
Right. It's tough. Yeah. I mean, I always envy people that can just be like, I speak 6 languages or something. Like, what the hell? Where'd you come from?
Yeah.
I mean, like but I think it's also now it needs to be also just something that's more fun, because when we were kids, it was like a class you had to go through and you had to get the right answers. And now it's fun because the most important thing is when you travel there. You know, when you travel to those destinations, to be able to speak some of the language and say some of the key words to talk through your way through the restaurant or whatever, you know, just getting around. And I think as you get, like you probably experienced too, when you go there, you start learning the language even faster. You start picking it up quick. You're just like, oh, that's what that means. Okay, cool. Takeaway. Let's get the takeaway. Let's get this takeaway, baby.
Yeah, takeaway.
I keep thinking about pizza and gelato over there, man, because it's just they got so many things, pizzerias and gelato. Be real today for a nice steak dinner tonight. Who, if you could bring anyone in the world to lunch, we could fly them over, or they're dead or alive. Who would it be?
Whoa, dead or alive? That really opens it up.
It does open it. I usually go with alive, but if they are dead, then let's bring them too.
Yeah, sure, that's fair enough. Probably go with maybe a Chicago favorite. Maybe I'd go with Bill Murray.
Ooh, nice.
Just big fan. He seems like kind of a quirky, weird dude. So that'd be someone I'd put up there.
Oh man, that guy's awesome. He's got like that one last new commercial where he's like counting his golf strokes.
Golf strokes, yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
I have a few buddies like that in high school. I used to play with them. Like, God, these guys are shooting 4s and 3s, and they just took one out of bounds. I'm like, come on, dude, are you serious? Yeah, but he's awesome. He seems like he's just a good. And he seems like he's more accessible now than ever, maybe. Because, as you get older, I'm looking at my room here, and I have a bunch of autographs of older celebrities usually, or younger celebrities that were on the rise. Most celebrities will not sign autographs when they're in their prime. They're too busy. They got too much shit going on. Like Justin Bieber, like unless you catch him and you can get him to sign, he ain't going to sign. Taylor Swift, she's too busy. All these people are too busy. But Taylor Swift in 60 years, 50 years, she's not going to be too busy. She's going to wish you won't, you know what I mean? Or Taylor Swift when she was 17. As I'm looking right now at my, Peyton Manning rookie card, Peyton Manning in his prime would never sign a card for you. If you just sent him a card in the mail and said, hey man, I'm a huge fan. I'd love you to sign it back. He would never sign it back. So I'm just saying that the interesting thing, I think Bill Murray now more than ever is in the, stage where he wants to give back, I think. So maybe we could find a way to connect you guys or find him on social somewhere. I don't know if he does social. I'll have to look it up.
He's popping around. I don't think he does.
He doesn't do social, huh? Well, maybe we'll just put him in the hashtags. Maybe he's searching or his team's searching. You never know. He'll
just pop up somewhere randomly.
Just pop up and be like, hey, man, what's up, Demo Duck? I heard you guys got talking about me.
Yeah, I just see him one day riding to work. He'll just throw me a quick hello, and that's all I'll need.
Hey, Colin. Well, Groundhog Day. Or then he's going to do it the second day, too, and then you're going to be like, oh, shit, what the hell's going on today?
You start messing with my mind.
2 days in a row. 3 days in a row. Holy shit, Colin. You got something going on over there. Do you have a book that has changed your life? Is there some insight or insightful book that you like to reread or just something that sticks to you?
I'm a big biography guy. I guess I don't know if this is one that necessarily is stuck with me long term, but it's when I read that Bad Blood book about Theranos.
Oh, wow. Yes.
That was a good lesson of just like, do your due diligence, at least especially on our end of, we always do discovery calls. It's a two-way street when clients, they come to us. We want to make sure that they're happy with who we are and how we operate and all that jazz. But also, do they jive with like what we're looking to do? Right.
Are they going to pay the bill too? Are they going to pay the bill?
Just a good reminder. It's like, you never know. You got to, if things don't feel right, feel free to speak up and, trying to, I think that a lot has shifted and a lot of the startup world has shifted to not thinking quite as focused on just growth and break things and move as quickly as possible. So, it's just a reminder for me in my position to be honest, think strategically, grow strategically, and build for the long term.
Are you a company that you eventually view you guys maybe going public one day?
Oh, I don't think so. No,
Stay private.
Stay private. I've been through that. I worked at Groupon. I went through that whole thing and roller coaster of ups and downs. So
right.
I think we're happy with the ability to really steer where we just had a vision meeting as an organization with everyone talking about, where do we want to be? How do we want to get there? So I really value the input from the team and our ability to have that flexibility to really drive our own path or create our own path and figure out how we get there as a unit. And I think that's really helped us and team morale and our success.
Well, I think you guys are going to keep on doing big things, brother. I wish you tons of continued success, and I appreciate your energy and positivity today, Colin, if you could give our listeners one last real talk thought, what would that be?
I would say visit demoduck.com. If you see what you see is something that you like, feel free to get in touch. But if nothing else, just take a look through some of the work that we've done, and maybe that'll inspire you to create a video and pull out an iPhone tomorrow and shoot something to put on LinkedIn and just start creating. And then in time, you can figure out what's working and how and what you like doing and chase it.
Well, folks, you've been hanging out with my boy, Colin Hogan and Travis Too Tall and Huff. I want to thank you again for your time today, and let's keep being real. Let's do it. What another epic episode. And if you enjoyed the episode today, can you please do me a favor and subscribe to our podcast, The Be Real Show, on iTunes or your favorite podcast platform. And also take a little time today, if you don't mind, and give your boy T Huff a review. I would really super appreciate it. And thank you so much for listening today.